Okay, I was born 1929, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I was fortunate in that my father was a state employee. He was a state bank examiner. Since I was born in 29, I didn't realize that there was a depression, what the depression was, but as I progressed in years, I learned that I was a part of the depression, and that I saw things in the depression that I didn't appreciate at the time, but in later years I did. My father was one of 12 children. They were they were raised on a farm. So as a result, a lot of them had mixed income. My mother was one of 9 children, and
Wow.
that side of the family had difficulty. My father, I remember we would visit some of the relatives, and I'd look over, and he'd be slipping maybe $2 to an aunt.
Yeah.
And that was the only money they maybe had for a while. One episode sticks in my mind. Well, I have a number of episodes, but I had a favorite aunt that I would go and visit with in the summertime, and over in a little community in Washington, Pennsylvania, the home of Washington and Jefferson College. He was a policeman, but one day I said, I'm going to walk down to Aunt Addie's, and Aunt Addie just lived 4 or 5 blocks away and had 2 children. All my cousins were much older because my father, this was his second marriage. He'd lost his first wife in World War I. But anyway, as I went out the door, Aunt Lucy said, George, if they offer you any food, don't you take it. And I just, I didn't know why, but I'm sure I went down there, and there they were. And my cousin Donnie was back on the bed, resting. He had the night shift at Hazel Atlas Steel. Mm-hmm. And came out, and they had soda crackers. And that was their dinner.
Wow.
So, I of course did not share in the soda cracker and water. A couple other little things. Pittsburgh had population that was steel workers that were Irish, Italian, Polish, German, and the steel industry was up and down at that time. And we had a park down the street from our house that we moved into in 1938. And I can remember hundreds of Italians coming out there and cutting the dandelions to make dandelion soup.
Wow.
That was, that was food for them. So that's a rambling way of talking about.
And you probably didn't really understand why then, did you?
It didn't hit me until later on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that we had a period there where we were renting, and we moved, and this was within the Pittsburgh area. It seemed like we moved every year. Whether this was to stay ahead of the landlord or what, but yeah, and sometimes it was an upgrade, and sometimes it was a downgrade. I remember moving to a community called Banksville. And we were renting a house. It was the only brick house in the community. And I was told to be careful and stay on the sidewalks when I walked to the school because everybody had a coal mine in their basement. And so you had all these mines that were caving in all around. Okay.
Wow.
I don't know whether that's the kind of response you wanted or not, but we ran around, probably hit a couple of your questions.
Yeah, I got 5. Yeah. I got 5 answers.
Okay, okay. Now hit me with another question then.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
I have one brother who's 4 years younger, still lives around the Pittsburgh area.
Alright.
What does he do, or what did he do?
He was a milkman for many years. And then they went on strike.
Yeah.
And he went out, and they couldn't. He had to be a member of the Teamsters Union, and they couldn't beat the dairy. And
So everything's still unionized, or was unionized
yeah,
then.
or they try to unionize,
Yeah.
but it couldn't beat this dairy, and stayed independent. So at age 60-something, he got employed by the U.S. Post Office Department. And he hated every minute of it, but he got enough for some
Good
retirement.
retirement.
He was able to combine it with Marine Corps duty.
So he was in the military too.
4 years.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Was like any of your family ever unemployed during the?
I had relatives, quite a number of them that I can remember, were unemployed. Yes, quite a number of them. There's a place called Weirton, West Virginia, which is not too far from Steubenville. And one of the older steel companies was Weirton Steel. And I don't know how many uncles went with Weirton Steel. And I can remember they would be laid off, and then they would come back on again. And then laid off, come back on again. And,
It's a tough job too, I bet.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah.
Now, with your dad being a bank examiner, I wouldn't think there would be a lot of people saving money in the banks, but
Well, Dad, I can remember him. This ties in with the Depression. As I said, my father was a bank examiner, and he would go in. You know, I can remember him telling us some of these stories, and then later on he embellished them. But he would go in and examine a bank, and get ready to give the audit the next day and come in, and the bank president would have killed himself during the evening before, because if things were such a disaster.
yeah.
Did you have to work like when you were a kid? Or?
Yeah, I did. Growing up in Pittsburgh, I yearned for snow so I could shovel walks. I didn't like carrying coal in. Everyone had a coal furnace, and the coal would be delivered in the street, 1 and 2 ton loads, and for a kid, a wheelbarrow, it takes a long time, and that's hard work.
Wow.
Then Pittsburgh was a dirty city, and
I was gonna say, I could see like breathing problems. And,
well, as an example, my father went to work for a bank in Pittsburgh after the bank examiner thing, and he would come home, and my mother on Friday would carry 5 white shirts to the Chinese laundry, and I remember this black ring around my father's collar
Wow.
and around the cuffs.
Mm.
And then on the front page of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, about 2 or 3 times a year, they would show a photo of the sun as seen from downtown Pittsburgh, because you couldn't see the sun. Smog was so bad.
Wow.
How much did things cost? Some stuff. How much did some stuff cost?
Okay. I can remember seeing with Gone with the Wind, and I was down visiting some relatives in Clarksburg, West Virginia, and it cost us 15 cents.
Woo!
And I was able to get an all-day sucker. I mean, caramel for 5 cents. And I remember I had a quarter, and I came home with change. Then, as things progressed or regressed, I see. You know.
Was that
Shut-
a luxury to go to a movie? Could a lot of people not go,
Well,
or?
Yeah, it was a luxury. I couldn't go on Sunday, but even Pennsylvania had Sunday blue locks, and
Yeah.
no movies were open. And that was a big thing when movies finally opened on Sunday.
Huh.
And my brother and I had to work on my parents in order to get permission to go to the movie on a Sunday. Yeah. But the cost, well, you know, you come along to 1942, 43. I worked in the cafeteria in my high school, and I sold coins in exchange for dollars, for quarters and stuff. You could get a good lunch for 25 cents. I mean, milk, a little piece of meat. They weren't real big on salads back then, but you could eat for a quarter.
A quarter.
I thought I was in hog heaven when I got a Christmas job one year working for the post office department. I got 60 cents an hour delivering mail. I got a job in the high school when I was paid 25 cents an hour, and I was scrubbing floors, washing windows, and washing down desks. And that was over Christmas time and in the summer.
Wow.
Another thing that I did was, and that was peculiar to the Washington area, the Pittsburgh area, was everybody had wallpaper, and you bought wallpaper cleaner. And I made fairly good money, but you had to kept squeezing this stuff, and then you'd go down the walls and just clean. So
You were a hard worker.
oh, I tried.
Alright, what'd you do for fun, like when you were a kid? Like, did you have any toys or stuff?
You know, my fun was I was so involved And this may come across as braggadocio, but during grade school, that was at the height of the war, and I got involved in the junior commandos. We collected scrap, and I would get my friends and neighbors and with our little wagons, and we'd go around and we'd find abandoned car fenders, tires, and I set a record in the Pittsburgh area for collecting scrap.
Wow.
Then,
Did they give you anything for it?
No. Oh, I got to go out to the Pittsburgh Airport, and I saw a P-38 fighter, which was a twin-engine thing, and I got to look at the Allison engine that they were getting ready to put in, and I got to have lunch with the MP company commander.
That was big time.
Yeah, and, and I got in the newspaper. They were hunting for print, but I got involved in the church. I was the head collector of monies, and I probably stole out of the collection plate.
Oh,
but anyway,
George.
we're not going to. So, but for fun, high school. I was involved, like my annual said, George Meghien doesn't own all the high school. He just owns 99%. Because I was editor of the yearbook, president of the student council, president of my class, coach of the freshman football team. I had injured my ankle in my junior year, so I couldn't play. And then in order to stay up on schoolwork, I was getting out of classes to go do this and go do that. I took on babysitting jobs on Saturday night in my senior year.
What?
So that I could get caught up in the schoolwork. I don't want to come across braggadocio, but that was fun for me. I think I feasted on, I had an identity and big man on campus.
Yeah.
All right, I got two more, and your worst memory and your best memory.
What place in life? Just a bad scene, huh?
Well, probably at oldest is high school.
Okay.
What year did you graduate high school, George?
1947.
Okay.
Okay. There was a bad point and there was a good point. I wanted to go to West Point, and no one in my family had gone. No one knew anything about it. And I researched it, and I found out I needed a congressional appointment. And I went to the congressman's office, and I did that. And, what do I have to do? And this congressman came back and said, well, you've got to get letters from my constituents. And I went around and got letters from everybody. And I thought I had it in the bag that I would get the appointment. And it came out that a guy in an adjacent community whose father was president of a savings and loan and a big contributor to Jim Congress, at least that was my feeling. he got the principal appointment. So that was a disappointment. But then the guy...
So that was your senior year of high school?
That was my senior year in high school.
Okay.
Then the guy that got the principal appointment failed the physical aptitude test. We'll say we had to do 12 chin-ups, and he may have only done 9. So this is my big moment then. I was informed that I now had the principal appointment. But I had to go up to West Point to take some further examinations. Mm-hmm. I had to miss my high school graduation.
Oh, no.
Yeah, where I got a lot of honors, you know.
Oh.
And go up to West Point and take these, I think it was math.
It was a lot of pressure.
Oh, God, 16, 17 years old. A lot of pressure. And my parents, they were going to have to come up with $500, and it was hard. Hard. But I did those exams, and I came home, and I told my parents, I said, I'm going to have to dust off that little scholarship I have to the University of Pittsburgh, because I didn't get in that place. And about the 22nd or 23rd of June, got a telegram, Western Union, saying, you are hereby ordered to report to West Point on the first day of July, 1947. You have been accepted. So that was my high,
wow.
And that was a low. I hope that is, I know that's a lot of words, but
wow.
anyway.
That's a neat story. So you were this close either way of not getting in.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So wonder what happened to the other guy that didn't make it?
He came in the following year.
Okay.
He was able to pass the thing. Okay. So he was a year behind me. He's a jerk anyway. I've come across him in later years, and he hasn't changed.
Not so nice.
I think that's it. There's like a couple in here that won't do anything that my dad just or something.
What?
I think I'm good. That's good.
Think you're good?
Sir.
So you really, when you were younger, and I guess when it was the Depression, you don't really remember going without, like maybe some of your relatives.
No. I didn't know what without was. My person that I called grandfather, my father walked away from his family when he was 2 or 3 years old and went next door and lived with his mother's sister. Mm-hmm. And then she was married to George West, and then she died. But I was raised by George West, so it was a farm, and we would be able to go out over there and visit, and there was food aplenty and just all kinds of stuff. If there's stuff that I need to cut out, let me know.
All right.
And I need to know your final grade.
Okay. All right.
Because if it's not very good, then it's my fault.
It's going to be his fault. It's going to be on him.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. George. I enjoyed it.
Thank you for calling me.
I enjoyed it. Listening to the stories.
It's fun for me.
Yeah. Hey, I might have to get, next time you head down to Wetumpka, holler at us. I might have to get Mark Partain to take me down there.
On Thursday.
Okay.
Bring Nana.
I know Nana would want to go, that's for sure.
Took Ann Sturm and Pat Smitherman.
Yeah.
Ted and I did.
Yeah.
He doesn't go very often because that Maverick's got to be taken care of.
We lived in Memphis, and my mom was there, and I was a bad influence on her because Tunica was right there.
I've never been to Tunica.
Oh, George. It's like a little mini Las Vegas.
Well, I enjoy going down to Atmore.
Okay.
But in Alabama, they just have slot machines. They don't have.
Okay.
But Atmore is just a beautiful hotel.
I've never been there either.
It's on 65.
It's before you get to Mobile, right?
That's right.
Before, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But 18 or 19 stories. Great restaurants. Clean,
Really? Is that
spa.
Indian
Oh,
owned
these
too?
are all part of the
Okay.
Creek Indian Nation porch. But down there in Wetumpka, it's fantastic, the building that they're putting up. Concrete trucks, cranes.
That's crazy.
And of course, the Attorney General is just strange. Is just fighting like the devil to close them down.
Wow.
It's pure and simple gambling.
Sure it is. How long does it take you to get there to Wetumpka?
I can get down there in an hour and 20 minutes.
That's not bad.
Depending on who I encounter with the constabulary.
We're having the best stories. We kind of got ran out. They opened at 10, so we wanted to get out of his hair, but you going in?
Here,
Okay.
I'm pulling out. So
All
you can
right.
pull in here.
Thank you, George.